The points and miles game is all about getting travel perks for little to no money. And while some of the sweetest deals are on the bucket list international carriers that offer top-notch service, food, and lie-flat seats, United Airlines offers a unique benefit of its own. United's Excursionist Perk basically gives you a free award flight as long as you follow a few conditions and book your flight as part of a multi-city itinerary. This may sound confusing, but it's actually really easy to do yourself when booking online. In this video, I'll explain everything you need to know, walk you through the process step by step, and let you in on an advanced move that can yield big results. In case you're new here, I'm Mel, and I share my travel experiences and teach you the how-tos for free travel. If you like this type of content, hit the like button, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss any future videos. And with that out of the way, let's get started. So what is the Excursionist Perk? The United Excursionist Perk gives you a free one-way award flight on eligible multi-city itineraries. Note that you still pay taxes and fees. More simply put, if you book a 3-segment itinerary, United will give you the middle segment for free as long as you follow certain conditions. Again, you still pay taxes and fees, but there will be 0 mileage charged. For example, if you live in Chicago and wanted to visit both Helsinki and Rome, you would pay an award ticket from Chicago to Helsinki, then you would use your free Excursionist Perk to fly from Helsinki to Rome, and then you'd pay for an award ticket from Rome to Chicago. In order to take advantage of the Excursionist Perk, you need to meet the conditions laid out by United. So what are the rules? Rule 1, the Excursionist Perk cannot be in the Mileage Plus defined region where your travel originates. To understand this better, we need to take a look at how United defines its regions. The United Mileage Plus program divides the world into 17 separate regions: Europe, Middle East, Northern Africa, Central and Southern Africa, mainland US, Alaska and Canada, Hawaii, Mexico, Caribbean, Central America, Northern South America, Southern South America, North Asia, Central Asia, South Asia, Japan, Oceania, Australia, and New Zealand. In other words, if you depart from the United States, you can take your free excursionist flight in any region other than mainland US, Alaska, and Canada. Rule 2, travel must end in the same Mileage Plus defined region where travel originates. So if you depart from an airport in the United States, the final leg of your journey must bring you back to mainland US, Alaska, or Canada, but not necessarily to the airport from which you left. Rule 3, the origin and destination of the Excursionist Perk are within a single Mileage Plus defined region. For instance, a flight from Helsinki to Rome would qualify because both of those cities are in the Europe region. And similarly, a flight from Shanghai to Seoul would qualify because both of those cities are in the North Asia region. But a flight from Helsinki to Shanghai would not qualify because those cities are in 2 different regions. Rule 4, the cabin of service and award inventory of the free one-way award is the same or lower than the one-way award preceding it. While this is a little vague, the way it usually works is that whatever class of service you book for the first flight in your itinerary, that's the class of service you'll get for the free excursionist flight, even if you book a different class of service for the 3rd flight. For example, if you fly from JFK to London in economy, then your free excursionist perk from London to Athens would also be economy. And your 3rd segment from Athens to JFK would be whatever class you prefer. But if you fly from JFK to London in business class, then you could get a free business class flight from London to Athens as your free excursionist perk. And then your final flight from Athens to JFK could be whatever class you want, even economy. So clearly the value of the excursionist perk can vary depending on how you choose to use it. For the greatest value, book business class in a large region that provides the opportunity for long flight segments. Rule 5, if 2 or more one-way award flights qualify for this benefit, only the first occurrence will be free. If you wanted to build an itinerary with 4 or more segments, you can, but only the 2nd segment will be free. For example, if we add 1 more stop to our itinerary, you can see that JFK to London is a paid flight, London to Paris is free, Paris to Athens is paid again, and Athens to JFK is paid. Now that you know all the rules, how can you book a free flight? The easiest way to take advantage of this perk is to book the free flight as a middle segment on an international trip. Let's look at this in action. Go to united.com and go to the upper right corner of the page to log in. If you don't already have a Mileage Plus account, it's free and easy to create an account. You select Login and then look towards the bottom of the login screen for Join Now. Select it and you'll be prompted to provide basic information like name, address, and so on. And when you've finished, you'll receive your own unique Mileage Plus account that you'll use to log in. Once you're logged in, select Advanced Search. The page that pops up gives you 3 options: round trip, one way, and multi-city. Select multi-city. You need 3 segments in order to get the middle segment free, so scroll down and click on Add Another Destination. So let's say your desired itinerary is Chicago to Amsterdam, Amsterdam to Rome, Rome to Chicago. I go to the multi-city search page we just set up and I input my cities and my dates. I select economy class and then hit Find Flights. I then select my Chicago to Amsterdam leg for 40,000 miles plus $5.60 in taxes and fees. Amsterdam to Rome for 0 miles and $87.90 in taxes and fees. And Rome to Chicago for 30,000 miles plus $69.90 in taxes and fees. So the total cost with the Excursionist Perk is 70,000 miles plus $163.40 in taxes and fees. And if we had not taken advantage of the Excursionist Perk, the Amsterdam to Rome leg would have cost us 15,000 miles, and the trip would have totaled 85,000 miles plus $163.40 in taxes and fees. So even with a simple itinerary like this, you can see that the Excursionist Perk saved us 15,000 miles. But if you take advantage of the Excursionist Perk for a business class flight or for a long segment in a bigger region, the savings can be even greater. Let's look at an example. If we take the same itinerary we just searched, but redo it in business class this time, here are the new results. Chicago to Amsterdam is 80,000 miles plus $5.60. Amsterdam to Rome is still 0 miles plus $89.40. And Rome to Chicago is 80,000 miles plus $64.30, for a grand total of 160,000 miles plus $159.30. And if we had not taken advantage of the Excursionist Perk, it would have been 187,500 miles plus $159.30. So with business class, we saved 27,500 miles. Let's look at one more itinerary. This time, let's look at economy flights in a region that's bigger than Europe. This time, we're looking at New York City to Johannesburg, Johannesburg to the Seychelles, and then the Seychelles to New York City. Our results show New York City to Johannesburg is 45,000 miles plus $5.60. Johannesburg to the Seychelles is 0 miles plus $45.60. And the Seychelles to New York City is 49,500 miles plus $77.28, for a total of 94,500 miles plus $128.48. And if we had not taken advantage of the Excursionist Perk, it would have been 113,800 miles plus $128.48. So we saved 19,300 miles. How can you get creative and increase the value of the perk? Everything I've talked about so far, I hope, has been pretty straightforward and easy to implement yourself. But there's one more level to this game that is a bit more difficult to understand. But stick with me, because while it may be more confusing, it's also much more rewarding if you can make it work for your situation. Remember the Excursionist Perk rules that I listed earlier? Basically, your free flight has to be in a different region than you started. Your final flight has to end in the same region where you started, and your free flight has to begin and end in the same region. Well, nothing in the rules actually says that your itinerary has to be continuous. In other words, your second flight doesn't have to start where your first flight ends, nor does it have to end where your final flight takes off. This frees you up to be creative and to travel any way you like without being locked into United for the entire itinerary. For example, what if you'd rather fly a bucket list international carrier like Air Nippon Airways, or experience the popular Q suites on Qatar Airways? Or what if you stumble on a really great deal for an international flight on a carrier other than United? The good news is that you can create a workaround that allows you to book the large segments of your international flight any way you want and still take advantage of the free excursionist perk. Let's look at one option that works really well for people who take repositioning flights. If you live in an area without a major international airport, chances are high that you have to reposition in order to find the best deals on international award flights. For example, if you live in St. Louis, Missouri, you'll have much better award availability if you reposition to Chicago. And one-way saver award flights between St. Louis and Chicago are often only 7,500 miles, plus $5.60 in taxes and fees. The good news is that you can use those 2 repositioning flights to book a free excursionist perk anywhere in the world, as long as it's in one region only and it's in a region different than the region from which your trip began. So in accordance with the rules, you could do this. Outbound repositioning flight, St. Louis to Chicago, 7,500 miles plus $5.60. Excursionist perk, Johannesburg to the Seychelles, 0 miles plus $89.40. Inbound repositioning flight, St. Louis to Chicago, 7,500 miles plus $5.60. With this setup, you still get your free excursionist perk anywhere in the world, plus you maintain the freedom to book your overseas flights any way you want. And your free segment provides great value because you're paying a total of 15,000 miles and you get the 2 repositioning flights plus a free flight that would normally cost you 19,300 miles on its own. That's well over a 50% savings. But what if you live near a major international airport, so you rarely need to take repositioning flights? Is there still a way for you to get creative? The answer is yes, especially if you travel often and your travel is a mix of both domestic and international trips. If that's the case and you have 2 domestic trips coming up with an international flight in between those 2 flights, then you can restructure things to enable the excursionist perk to work really well. Let's say you have 3 upcoming trips. A domestic trip, Chicago to Boston round trip, May 11th to the 14th. Then an international trip, Chicago to Johannesburg, May 25th, Johannesburg to the Seychelles, May 30th, the Seychelles to Mozambique, June 4th, and Mozambique back to Chicago, June 9th. And finally, another domestic trip, Chicago to Boston round trip, June 19th to June 22nd. Let's shuffle things around a bit to get as much benefit as we can from the excursionist perk. I'm going to color code the trips to make things easier to follow. If you booked them in this traditional order, you would have to book your entire international trip on United in order to get 1 free excursionist perk, and that free segment would be Johannesburg to the Seychelles. But if we shuffle things around, look what happens. You're still accomplishing the exact same trips, but they're reorganized in a way that allows you to book the longest overseas flights on any airline you choose, and allows you to enjoy 2 free flights instead of 1. And these 2 flights would usually require 19,300 miles plus 26,800 miles for a total savings of 46,100 miles. I hope this video gave you a few good ideas on how you could use the excursionist perk in your own travels. I also hope it gave you the knowledge and the confidence you need to get creative. It can really pay off. Comment below if you have any questions or any requests for future videos. And remember to hit the like button, subscribe, and hit the notification bell if you want future content like this. It really helps the channel. Until next time, happy travels.